This event here is a celebration of Juneteenth and also an event in solidarity with Cuba. And the reason we had these two events together is because of the special significance in the relationship between Black and Brown unity and the importance of that unity. There's a lot of strength when we come together. So Juneteenth, it's for June 19, 1865, and that is the date when chattel slavery was abolished here in the United States in Texas. And since then, it's been a celebration, basically, a commemoration of that day, of the end of slavery. And the reason we want to connect it with Cuba is because Cuba has been very supportive of the liberation movement of Africans, both in the diaspora, African Americans, and also Africans in the motherland.
We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens. We were not brought here to enjoy the constitutional gifts that they speak so beautifully about today. And because we weren't brought here to be made citizens today, now that we've become awakened to some degree and we begin to ask for those things which they say are supposedly for Americans, they look upon us with hostility and unfriendliness. So our unwanted presence, the fact that we are unwanted, is becoming magnified in all of America's preachments today.
There is no discussing the independence of Cuba from imperialism, from colonialism, without talking about, African solidarity, without talking about Cuba's African roots.
Because, the enslavement of African people, when you look up Juneteenth, it says, they abolished slavery. But that fills into the whole stereotype of the acquiescent enslaved African person, that they were acquiescent, that they accepted slavery. So then in that turn, they make it seem like African people accepted, they waited for freedom to come to them. Like they waited for the white man to come and free them from Texas, the slaveholders in Texas. But it wasn't that. It was African people who actually, it wasn't the people who, the abolitionists. The abolitionists started asking for, demanding for slavery to be ended because African people were resisting constantly every single day in the plantations, escaping, burning crops, working slower than usual, poisoning the slave master, killing the slave master. All these acts of resistance in the plantations were all acts to liberate themselves from this oppression. And that is the same kind of liberation that we see in Cuba, that we see in Haiti, and that we see anywhere in the world, and in African countries as well, where you see African people rise up and liberate themselves.
What helped to prompt July 4th, 1776 was the perception amongst European settlers on the North American mainland that London was moving rapidly towards abolition. This perception was prompted by Somerset's case, a case decided in London in June 1772, which seemed to suggest that abolition, which not only was going to be ratified in London itself, was going to cross the Atlantic and basically sweep through the mainland, thereby jeopardizing numerous fortunes, not only based upon slavery, but the slave trade.
We want to also do a presentation to give a little bit of information on the history of Juneteenth and a little bit on Cuba. And again, that similarity, the solidarity between the struggle of African Americans and Latinos and how similar and connected we are. So that's what we're celebrating, that's what we're here for today.